So, prema maitri kripopeksha. I'm just going to touch on a few different kinds of relationships that are mentioned in this verse. And before I continue, however, I'd like to just have a few reflections. A reflection is different from a question. A question has a question mark at the end, and then I have to answer it. But a reflection is one thing that you heard for the verse or purport or from my monologue so far that stuck in your mind. Something that you felt like was useful or interesting. Does that make sense? On your mark, get set, go. Reflect. Just raise your hand and we'll pass you the microphone because the microphone's out and ready to go. I'm sure of it. And if it's not, and it takes a little while to pull out of that drawer and then turn on and then figure out how to work it, I'll just repeat what you're saying. Okay. Gauravani. He was appreciating the lady coming after us to find us after knocking on her door. And just another point is, whenever we sell a book to somebody, that we also ask them if they believe in the power of prayer. And in America, about 90% of the time they say yes. Another 10% of the time they say no. And then we say, perfect, we'll teach you a mantra. But in any case, we ask them. So I met this other man, same day. We were walking along the street, and we met this man from Germany. And he taught statistics. And he bought a book, bought a Bhagavad Gita. I asked him if he believed in the power of prayer, and he said yes. And I asked him to chant the Mahamantra. And he hesitated. He said, I don't know, what does it mean? So I explained what it meant to the best of my ability. And they said, are you ready? And he goes, no, I'm not going to chant it. And we walked away. We were thinking how, wow, there's really something in this mantra that people are afraid to chant it. It made me want to chant it more because of that. Thinking it must be really powerful incantation. Okay, a couple more reflections? Yes. Here it comes.
Go out to give the mercy to others, and we also feel bliss, and we also feel enlightenment.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Adventure, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. Cora, and then Nicole.
Drive down here, Krishna Das and Purnamasi and I were discussing about how Srila Prabhupada's mood was that he came to give. One said he didn't come to take anything from Krishna. So I was impressed by that spirit of detachment that you showed when you said, well, I don't have any money. And you said, well, you want 1 penny. And she came back with a 20. So because my understanding is that she saw that you weren't there, to see how many dollars you could get. You were prepared to let go of the book even for 1 penny, and she immediately received her name.
Yeah, we'll take a grape too, or a banana. We've done that before. Got to hold it straight for heaven's sake. Yeah. Association with devotees, he focused on hearing and chanting. It's a really good idea to set goals for hearing and chanting also. I wrote about this in my book. I wrote a book recently, and in it I wrote about strong sadhana, strict, serious, and sincere sadhana. And one of the points I made, which was something that really changed the way I do my sadhana, is when I started measuring how much I read. Like you have a bead bag, right? And you have counter beads on it? Yes? Because if you didn't, someone would come up to you at Krishna House and say, what's the deal? Where's your counter beads, right? And if you see somebody you don't know walking around without counter beads, you'll think they're CIA or something like that. Because it just doesn't make sense to walk around with a bead bag with no counter beads. So in a similar way, Prabhupada's books have a certain number of pages, a finite number of pages. And you can actually complete those if you measure it. So I was intimidated. There's so many books to read, and oftentimes I just look at it and say, well, it'll never happen because there's so many books. One day I was reading a book by Brian Tracy, and he talked about how you can do anything if you break it up into small enough slices. And so I started thinking, well, how many pages are there anyway in the Srimad Bhagavatam? So I asked my friend Srivas Pandit to find out. I said, could you count all the pages, please? Count it, and I said, now you divide it up into 12 and see how 365. See how many pages one would have to read in one every day to finish it in 1 year. And you know what it turns out? It's only 41 pages. And you know how long that takes? It takes about 53 minutes a day on average just to finish 41 pages. And that's it. And you can finish the whole thing. So it's a good idea to have a clear goal. If someone wakes you up at 1 o'clock in the morning, says, when are you going to finish the Bhagavatam? You'll be able to tell them exactly because you're right on target. You can finish at a certain time. So the reason I bring this up, in our practice of Vaidhi Bhakti, the main process is hearing. We have to hear constantly. And in fact, when Devahuti asked her son, Kapiladev, how does one become extricated from the material world? It seems like I am my body, and I'll never get out of here. How do I do it? And Lord Kapiladev said, what did he say? By the way, what's the answer? Anyone? Anyone? Huh? Association of Sadhu. He said, you should hear for a long time. If you hear for a long time, then the influence of material nature will begin to slacken. But association with sadhu, that's a good answer, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatana Goswami are preceded by a long list of verses about how devotional service begins, is sustained, and comes to its fruition just by association with devotees. And devotees are those who are attracted to hearing and chanting about Krishna. They actually have a positive attraction. And even if they don't, they are strict about hearing regularly, just because they know it's medicine and it goes in. One more before I just move on to the next section. Yes, Urmila. Thank you very much for bringing out the verse. And now that it's a good segue into what I was going to say next, related to the subject, and that is that Rupa Goswami, and we are followers of Rupa Goswami, or Rupanugas, gives us a clear indication of how we should associate with devotees. First of all, he says, Jadati pratigranati guhyam akyati prichdati bhunkte bhujete chaiva sadvidam pratilakshanam. There are exchanges of love between devotees, which are giving gifts, accepting gifts. What else? Giving prasad, accepting prasad, and revealing one's mind confidentially, and hearing from the other about, inquiring about confidential subject matters in this deep discussion. And then he goes on to say about how one should choose one's association. He says, and how one should relate to particular kinds of devotees. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranati bishta bhajantamisham shushushaya bhajana vignamananyamanya nindari shunya hridamitsita sangalabhya. He says that there are, first of all, whenever one hears somebody say, Hare Krishna, everyone please say. Hare Krishna. In your mind, you should worship that person. You should show them respect in your mind. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said a similar thing to the residents of Kuliagram. What did he say? Prabhu kahe? Jar shune ek bar. If one time I hear from the mouth of someone, Hare Krishna, Krishna Nam, Shreshta Shabakar. He says, that person, She Puja, Shreshta Abakar, that person becomes worshipable to me. If they say Hare Krishna, please say it again. Yeah, so that's what Rupa Goswami says, because there's so much in Scripture about the power of the holy name, and we all know that just by, if someone has the ability just even one time, te pustapaste juhuvu sasna arya brahmanacho nama grananti ete, even one time they can say Hare Krishna, then we should see this person is very special. And in our mind, we should show them respect. Then he says, Dikshasti chet pranadibishta bhajantamisham. Then if someone becomes serious about devotional service and they take initiation, means they made a vow that I'm going to practice this, then we should get down and offer him obeisances, or at least do this. 3 kinds of obeisances, like that, on your elbows, or flat on the ground. You should offer respects to people like that. And then he says, Nindari shunya hridamipsita sangalabhya. Then the highest of devotees is the devotee who doesn't have the propensity to criticize others. Envy is gone from his or her heart, and that devotee no longer has the propensity to criticize others. And that person one should faithfully serve and be around as much as possible, hear from, and so forth. So there's a gradation of different kinds of devotees that we have relationships with. And last night I was mentioning this point about the devotee relationships. Urmila Prabhu mentioned a verse to me from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and she read it. And in it, there's very interesting points about how one should try to see the good qualities in others. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has mentioned that according to one's ability to see the good qualities in others, one is considered advanced or, for lack of, degraded. So there are different categories. 6 were mentioned. One of them was Bhagavatara. A Bhagavatara means somebody who sees that someone has good qualities and faults and recognizes the good quality. And on the other side, there's someone who's called Asadhutara. He's not a sadhu, he's asadu. Asadhutara, which means that he sees the good quality and he sees the bad quality, because everyone might have some good quality, bad quality, but he only sees the bad. And then there's the person who's the Mahatma. And the Mahatma is the next level up of somebody who sees the good qualities and the bad qualities, but augments the good quality, emphasizes it in a person. And then there's the person who sees the good quality, sees the bad quality, but emphasizes the bad quality. Gore, is this making sense? He's on Facebook a lot, so I figured that. And then there's the third, which is Ati Mahatma, which means this person is so advanced that even when there's no good qualities, he sees good qualities. And the person who's in the lowest position is called the Ati Asatu Tatmana. And that is somebody who, even when there's no bad qualities, he sees bad qualities. So it's an interesting point is about how is it that an advanced person sees good qualities when there are none? How does how does an advanced transcendentalist see good qualities when there aren't any? You're going to answer? Okay. They're seeing everyone as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or they're seeing everyone in relationship to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Actually, hold on, I'm going to answer the question first, because I have a particular thought about this, and that is something I heard, that people who are, there's 3 ways of judging people. One is by their past, what somebody did in the past. Okay, we know you did this before, therefore that's who you are. Then there's people who are more advanced. They judge you according to your present position. That's what you did in the past, but here's how you're doing it now, therefore I accept that. But the most advanced are those who judge people according to their future potential. And that is that they say, okay, whatever you were before, whatever you're doing now, I see your potential, and therefore I think of you like that. And that's the category of the highest kind of devotee. And we see that in the advanced devotees. Srila Prabhupada had that particular quality, that he would note